Landmines and jellyfish, welcome back to Knives I Guess, and can be success if you are 3 barrels of sandwiches. Anyhow, today we are putting together the Gin Build It Yourself knife kit, and I have everything open and ready to go, but I think you saw it the last time. You've got everything you need to build the knife in the kit. We're going to follow the instructions so that if you're intimidated by the thought of building something, I can show you how well these step-by-step instructions work for this thing. And so of course you've got your scales, you've got your liners, you've got a bag with all your bolts and your pivot screws and your clip, all that stuff. You've got your red backspacer. You have got your T6 and T8 Torx heads, which these are phenomenal to have in here. These are good little bits. I like these a lot. Of course, you've got your blade, and you get a microfiber with everything too. So this is all the parts you need to build the kit. Now, the first thing we're going to do is your instructions have a parts list right here. And your next page is going to show you the parts numbers and how they all go together. And then step 1. So place the right liner in the right scale. So we got the right-hand side liner, and we're going to put it in the right-hand side scale. And the first thing it wants you to do is to take one of your barrel spacers, and it shows you where these spacers go. They're the 2 in the back. And these are your barrel spacers or your standoffs right here. And these are what the screw goes into through the body of the knife. So this goes into the frame right here, and then the screw goes through the scale to hold it on. And this is a little fiddly, I'll give it that much. But here we have our screw. And of course you can put the screw in first and then screw the barrel spacer on, which could be a little bit easier in a lot of cases. So we got the screw through. Now we're going to screw the barrel spacer on. And then you can take your T6 right here and go ahead and drive her home. So you got one spacer mounted, and you just move on to the next one and do the exact same thing. So that is sitting there. We're going to grab this one right here, I believe. Grab your T6 and drive her home. All right, the next step, it wants you to take the pivot, which this is your pivot right here, and send it on through the frame. And that holds you in place right here. And then the next step is going to be dropping a bearing over the pivot. This is one of your ceramic bearings right here. It's little ball bearings that the knife rides on, and you can see there's a well for that thing to sit in. I just set the pivot on the ground or on the table. So here you've got your pivot and your bearing, and it wants you to place a little drop of pivot lube on there. And a little bit goes a long way. And it wants you to lubricate. There's a little bitty tiny ball bearing right here, and that's what the blade rides on. That's your detent right there. And that kind of helps hold the blade closed while you're doing other things with it. And, you know, like your detent stops the blade from just flopping open on you, basically. So the next step is to put the stop pin and the backspacer in their places. Let's see, my stop pin is... Where did my stop pin go? I know you're here somewhere, little guy. There's my stop pin. So your stop pin will go right here, and that's what stops the knife when it swings open. And backspacer number 7 is in its place. That's your backspacers right there. So the next thing it wants you to do is to set the blade down on this. And you can kind of get a visual of how this thing works. When it opens, it locks against this this lock right here. You press that lock down and the blade swings freely. So I've got all that put together, and we put another ceramic bearing over the pivot, like so. And of course it wants a drop of oil on the bearing, and remember, less is more. A little tiny bit goes a long, long way. So you're going to have some of that oil coming out around this part of the blade right here as you open and close it for a little while, that's not a problem. We'll move on to the next step. It wants you to, this is the backspacer it wants you to set on here. So we'll set it down like so. And yes, that is correct. Move on to the next page. And then you drop the left liner, which is this right here. And you drop your left scale onto this side. And now things get a little easier. You just have to screw them in. Yeah, put all the screws in the holes and tighten. So we'll get our T6 out. We'll send this home. We'll send this home. So this is really, really simple to do. And we're going to put the pivot screw on. Now this controls the tightness of the action on your blade, how easily it opens and closes. So we're going to get this in here, and you can loosen it and tighten it just a little bit to control how it performs when you're opening and closing. So there's a little bit of blade rattle. So when you feel blade rattle, you just tighten it up a quarter of a twist. And no more blade rattle. And I like the way that's feeling. So that also controls your blade centering, and I can touch this just a hair more. So yeah, that is finished. And now we put the pocket clip on. And let's see. Right-handed side is going to be over here. So this can go on either side. So if you're right-handed or left-handed, you're still covered. And we'll get our T6 back out. And we will put one on the end here. It's a lot easier to put these on the end and put them through the pocket clip before you try to screw it down. It just makes life so much easier. And you drive this home, and you have completed assembly of your knife. So there you go. We have the Gin Captain kit put together. I know that was a little bit rambly, but I wanted to show you the process, and it's like 7 minutes, and this thing's put together. So if you're intimidated by something like this, don't be. These parts are really simple. A liner lock is very simple to put together. It's very, it's a very easy to deal with thing. So we got the pocket clip with the screws in, and congratulations, you built your own knife. Open and close the knife to see if it operates smoothly. Adjust the tightness of the pivot screw. Make sure all your fingers are out of the way with the sharp edge before closing the knife. And it's got a little maintenance guide, but yeah, that's it. Like, it's easy to assemble. Like, I enjoyed doing this. I liked having the parts. Like, this was just a really good idea from Gin. And a big thank you to those guys. Like, they are the first people to send me anything to review on the channel. I cannot tell you how grateful I am for that. The flake on this is really satisfying. This thing feels good to open and close. Like, I like everything about this. I really do. Let's see how sharp the edge is off of cut on the copy paper. So you get a fantastic factory edge too. Everything about this is quite good, especially for what you got to pay for it. Oh dear God, yes. So the edge on this out of the box is absolutely fantastic. That is another plus for this. So like if I bought this already assembled, I would not be mad at it at all. So like this is fun to put together. Your instructions are really simple. It's really straightforward. If you mess something up, it's not hard to take it apart and fix it. I really like this thing. I do. And your blade is D2 steel. And once you got it assembled and you got the pivot tightened right, this thing feels really good. So again, a huge thanks to Jen for sending this out for me to check out for you guys. And I'm going to carry this for a week as soon as my next review knife comes up tomorrow. And we're going to see how that does. And then we have a cardboard slaying live stream to push this edge and see this edge might last longer than I do pushing it through cardboard, but this thing feels like it's going to be a decent slicer, and we should have a good time with this. And yeah, that is this thing. Very easy to assemble, very interesting. You know, and if you're a knife guy, this is a cool thing to put together. It's nice to have. And, you know, if you're learning about knives and you're worried about how difficult it is to take them apart and put them together, this is a great way to learn. So, yeah, I can say good things about the experience building it, and I'm looking forward to carrying it. But all that being said, thanks for looking at my crap. Subscribers, you guys are awesome. Y'all keep coming in, and I am so grateful. I cannot tell you. Comments, I love some feedback. Let me know what you think about this thing, and let me know what you think about the kit as a whole. I will post the link to the Amazon listing for this thing, and there is a discount code. If you do KnivesIG10, you get 10% off. This is a $29.99 kit. 10% is going to be just about $3, so you're hitting $27 for this experience and what feels like a really solid knife. Just buying the knife at 30 bucks, I would still do that, let alone the kit. Let alone the added value of these T6 and T8 Torx screws, which you do want these if you're going to play around with knives. You get enough pivot lube for a good few knives, and you get your microfiber. Like, everything about this is great. So, all that being said, y'all have a nice day.